So tonight I have a live demo of making a shaker knob. This is a cherry drawer front with a classic cherry knob. There's no stain on this drawer front. This is the natural, beautiful color of cherry when it has an oil stain finish. And this is a white pine drawer sides with a shellac finish. So check this knob out. It's solid cherry, and because it's end grain facing you, it always shows darker. That end grain are like the straws coming right at you, so it doesn't reflect light the same way, and it absorbs it and looks darker. On the inside, we attach this knob with a wedge. We come through all the way with a 3/8 inch dowel or extension and wedge it from the inside. So nothing but top notch for these guys.
Of course.
We spare no expense, but I want to show you how to make one of those knobs. Now, I've got this book I often refer to. I probably have 3 or 4 of these measured shaker drawing books. They're really great resource if you're interested in making shaker furniture. It gives you a lot of measured drawings, detail of like the side view of a drawer here, on a little work stand, sewing stand here, with showing a profile, in this case, of a shaker knob. Now, they were made in all different styles. You can just compare this one on this page to this one here. And then there's a page in this book that even shows a huge variety of shaker knobs and pulls. They were used interchangeably as a knob and a pull. So we often call them pulls, in whether it's a bail pull or a knob or whatever. So here you go. This actually is the one that I like to try to reproduce. That, I wonder if they're trying to draw these right here, actual size. That's a little larger than the one we're going to be making. We don't need a huge knob for a little drawer like this. So let me show you the dimensions of the one we'll be making. So I just wanted to give you the key dimensions in case you're a wood turner and haven't made a shaker knob and want to give it a shot. So our diameter of the knob is 1 inch, and then where it gets slender in the column, it's 3/8. Now this is way out of proportion. Someone's probably noticing that. In proportion, this is probably 1/8 of an inch to 1 inch. But then up here at the larger collar here, just before the dowel, what do I usually call this? Yeah, before the dowel that goes through the drawer is 3/8 of an inch. So it's 5/8 collar here, and then we drop down to 3/8. So you have this little sweeping larger shape right there. And the dimensions in length is this rounded shape is approximately 1/4 inch. And then we have 3/4, and then I go 7/8 on the tenon the round tenon, in order to get through the whole drawer. The drawer front's usually 3/4 thick, so that does it. All right, so that's your crash course in the dimensions. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to start with a piece of cherry that is about 5.5, 6 inches long or so. You may say, that's a lot longer than you need for that 1 inch long pull, and you'd be right. But what I'm going to do is turn 2 of them at one time. Usually I'll turn 2. Now get in and look at this diagram. This is a little better drawing. It's to scale. But what you're seeing here now is the half profile of 2 knobs facing each other in mirror. So we have, this is the rounded front again, and then you have the lower swooping cove cut here. This is a cove up to 5/8 right there, and then you have the 3/8 inch tenon going out through the drawer. And then we have dimensions over here. So by drawing it this way with just the key lines, those are the lines that you transfer onto the rounded piece that allow you to show the depths of cut in order to cut that shaker knob in that way. So let's get it in there, and I'll show you how this goes. And we're just going to walk through this, or run through it, as fast as we can with no major accidents. We're hoping. This is the stand for the lathe chisels. I've got a variety of chisels here. I'll only be using like 4 of them. But I wanted you to see here, I've hung the calipers, and the calipers have been preset to the key dimensions. This is our 1-inch largest diameter, and I'll use that first. This is 5/8 for that larger section, and then I have the 3/8 for the tenon going through. And I know I'm going to drill the hole for the knob with this 3/8 bit. So this dimension right here is how large I want to make that tenon to get it perfectly accurate. So I've set these calipers to just bump as they go through there. Now, you can also use an open-ended wrench. And here's a 3/8 wrench. But you know, it wasn't perfect, so I had to put a little piece of tape on there. I hope that holds on there while we're doing this. But that can be used as calipers, and I'm going to try using it to get it roughly to shape. So here we go. I'm going to start with a skew chisel and just work my way through. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to just get it round. I already turned it, or cut it to an octagon to make this quick. I'm just going to check. Look at that, already close enough. That's close enough for the 1-inch diameter in the middle. I just really need that in the middle. Now I'm going to make my lines. So I'm going to bring my board up. You can see that? You see that okay? Just make my key lines, just touching each one of those points. Whoops. Almost missed one. This one's a little off. Okay, there we are. That's all we need. That's all the information. Now I'm going to go plunge in the center. To make some space. That's going to be the front of the knob. They're two facing each other there. I'll get kind of slender there. Out here is near the tenon. So I'm just going to go rough with that. And now I'll go for the 5/8. This is the shoulder where that 5/8 flare is, right before the tenon. So we're just going to hit that. Okay, we're there. We'll hit this one. Okay, good, 5/8. And that's it for a bit. Let's start shaping the knobs. Now I've got my depth cuts. I'm going to go with the spindle gouge 3/8. Let's start on this side. This is the cove cut. I'm sweeping down into that lower area behind the knob. That looks pretty close. I'll stop there. Now I could turn the other side. Well, let's just turn this side. This is the front of the knob. Can you see from there? You want to go around the front?
No.
Okay, so there's my rounded shape. I'm going to check the neck of that knob. See, I think I'm a little heavy. Yeah, just a little. So we want to get to that 3/8 right there.
What size parting tool are you using?
Just an 1/8" parting tool. All right, that one looks pretty good. Now we're going to hit the other side. This is where you have to be amphibious to turn from right and left. You've got to be able to go both.
Can you move your mic? I'm getting some static.
Static?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
How's that? Maybe it's related to the machine? Can you see what's happening from over there?
I thought I did fine.
Okay. All right, there's another. That one's okay. So it's a little heavy right here. There we go. Okay, so this point right here is where the knob meets the drawer front. So I want to make sure that's crisp so that knob like slams tight against the drawer front. There's no weird edge there. So I'm going to just come in now and make a cleaning cut with a skew chisel coming in at 90 degrees. Here we go. And then just clean that off. I'll do the same at the other end. And then I can just lightly clean that right there. That looks good. Now I'm ready for a little sanding. Let me just tune this up with a skew chisel. I'm going to get this pretty small right here. Hopefully it doesn't explode. That's good enough. We started out, we spun the 1-inch diameter.
Sorry.
Then we marked it out with the pencil, marking the key locations, and then hit our depths. And then I used the cove, the gouge, the 3/8 gouge to make that cove cut and left that collar a little high. And we've got our tenon at 3/8. So I'm going to use a 150 grit just to quickly tune it up. This is where the real master wood turners, they barely sand, but I'm going to sand just a little bit to quickly clean it up. And I think I'll just do this one on the right so we can take it out and take a look at it. I'm going to sand a bit of the front here. Now we can hit 220, smooth her up a little bit more, and hit the face again. Okay, that would be ready to cut away and check it out. So let's make a little mark. I think I can cut it right about there. So I'm going to head over to the bandsaw, which is way over there, and I'm just going to saw this. So I'm left with like a little nub here in the front that I'll just shear off, clean up with a chisel. I kind of didn't clean that totally right there, but then I could give that a tiny little filing. And then I just take this little palm sander and finish sand the end. So we've got the shaker knob in shape. I'm going to hold this a little lower so it's not, this thing's a little loud. Ready? Okay, and then I can touch it up with a little 320. And there you have it, a sweet little shaker knob. Hopefully this fits. A little snug, but let me just, it's going. It just needs a little tuning. That's actually good to be snug to start. This is our little sample shaker drawer front. There's the 3/8 hole, and that goes in nice and tight. See how it's tight to the drawer front?
Nice.
And I like to put the grain running horizontally like that. I don't think I have any. You know what? I do have some water I'll spritz on the front. But check this out. Let's wet it and see how it looks with finish on it. Look how nice that is.
Pretend.
See how the end grain goes so much darker? It gives you that great classic shaker look. Just a simple little turning. Gives you that traditional look. Now, we have the tenon exposed and proud coming through. So what I normally do is, after taking them apart, I'll cut a little slot in the back. I'll just do that on the bandsaw with a little riser block, and it goes in easily. So instead of this, we have this. That one goes up nice and snug. And then I cut that groove and I make a little wedge that goes in there. We hold pressure on the knob. Usually I like to put a little temporary spring clamp on there. Well, quick grip clamp, and then tap, tap, tap. It's locked in there for good. But there you have it.
Cool.
Crash course in turning your own shaker knobs. Well, thank you so much for being part of this and for hanging out with us a little bit here in the shop. On behalf of the camera lady and myself, look forward to seeing you next time right back here.